Carl Anderson,
Lance Roylo.
what is going on?
What is going on? It is a amazing night for a
Our
podcast,
first one.
and our first one of Real Parallels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're glad you're tuning in to Real Parallels because Real Parallels basically takes our incredible discussions about favorite films and we pair them with very interesting people, experts, and celebrities. And, we basically get them to tell us how accurately these movies affect real life.
Yep.
Yeah. And today I'm pretty excited because we have one of my favorite action stars, Mark Dacascos, huh?
Yep. You said it
Yeah,
right.
you said it correctly. I could
Yes.
have said it with the accent, Mark
Yeah.
Dacascos,
Oh, there you go.
and that is also accurate depending where you're at.
Right.
So, well, I'll tell you what. Let's get Mark on the line, and I mean, I actually what I want to know is what it was like just being on the set with Keanu.
Yep. So do I. I want to know how he got the part. Well, actually, I know. I want you to find out how he got the part.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right, let's do it. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Carl. Hey, Lance.
Hey. How's it going? We made it work.
Hey, yeah. Hey, and Carl, I want to apologize in person for the other day. I'm really sorry to put you guys through that. So you and Lance, please forgive me.
Oh no.
Oh man, are you kidding me, Mark? No worries. I was actually I don't know if Lance shared with you, but I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm real happy for him that he's a working actor and still working in his house. Like that's great. Like good. Like that's amazing. Good for him.
Oh,
I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And at the end, I said, I'm like, and to span. What did I say, Lance? I texted. I'm like, to span a decades-long career is just. I mean, I'm just thankful you're able to make time for us. This is great. But thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I heard Lance was telling me that you were in a virtual Lamaze class or something like that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
His first one too.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah. It's my first one. My first one. It's a girl. We're about 27 days away from my first child. So, it's out there. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
But I tell everyone, the silver lining is while normally I'd be at work and kind of like hunker down at a computer. Now that we're working from home, I get to be there, feel all the kicks. I get to feed my wife, and that's the silver lining. And I get to be there for the whole thing.
Well, congratulations, man! You're making it work.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Thank you.
You're welcome. Where is the 312 area code?
Oh man, can't tell from my little accent. I guess not. Chicago.
Chicago. Okay.
Yeah, and I've been in Hawaii for about a little over a decade now.
Okay.
When Larry Ellison, I don't know, when he purchased Lanai, pretty much.
Okay.
They brought me over as a consultant to kind of like redo all of the food and beverage and like these exciting things happening. And
cool.
Yeah, and even though I have a ton of family here, I got a ton of family on 3 islands.
Yeah.
It was the folks on Lanai, they showed me how to hunt mouflon with a bow and then spearfish.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm never going back. Never going back.
That's amazing. That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
He's pretty local. Carl's pretty local, I think.
That's cool. Nice.
So Carl is actually, he's part Filipino, part Norwegian, so he kind of blends in pretty well.
That's always been that was always an easy one, like in the morning, like especially on Lanai, which is pretty much all Filipino, like just a well placed nang bag na bigat mo, and it's like good morning. Oh, he's Filipino like us.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm in.
That's so funny. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? So you were doing Mark, you're doing virtual martial arts classes now? Or is it in person or what?
No, so I'm teaching. I'm teaching my son's friends. We also had Julie's brother's family over, so we had in addition to our 3 teenagers who live with us, we had 3 more teenagers from Texas. So for about 2 weeks plus, we had 6 teenagers in the house,
Oh, geez.
2 dogs, Julie and me, and then all of their friends coming over all the time. And then I've also been the last few days I've been mulching my in-laws' house, and they've got a big house, so I've been doing that. And then a couple of days ago I did this a big I want to tell you guys, but I'm not at liberty to say yet, but
yeah,
a big animated feature for a studio. And normally we do it in the studio. So I did the first session about 1.5 years ago, and then I was doing the second session, or it was coming up, and we're not allowed to go in the studio. So they sent over all this equipment. And I think, Lance, I sent you a picture. Did I send you a picture of some of that stuff they sent me?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, they sent me all this gear, and so I had to make a makeshift studio in our closet. So it was pretty funny, but you do what you got to do, right?
Right. That's awesome. I did not know about that, Mark. You got too much going on.
Yeah, thank you. It's
so.
Good. It's
are you at liberty? Are you, Mark? Are you at liberty to talk about maybe at least like what you're doing for it? Is it just voiceover, or is it like Mopar? Is it a little bit of everything?
The thing is,
or mocap, the mocap. I mean,
right. So they were videotaping while we did the first session, so they can kind of get in essence the physicality, the face movement, and then the animation. So there's a slight likeness of, but they also take liberty at doing the character. I want to tell you guys because it's really exciting, but
sure,
the next couple months I can tell you guys.
Oh, cool. Excited about that. The anticipation is killing me.
Most of the animation, as far as I know, it's all finished. So now we're just, and the majority of the dialogue was locked. So it's just cleaning up some things and then some other things that they needed vocally to, to wrap it up.
Yeah. Do you dig the voiceover part?
Mm-hmm. I love it. And the script is really good. When I read the script, I thought, oh man, this is fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I'm psyched.
Oh, very cool. Well, I for one, have been kind of, I don't know, alongside your career. I was telling, in fact, how it kind of came up. One of the first stories that I told Lance was, it was back in the 90s. And, obviously I was a comic book junkie, not obvious, but I was a comic book junkie. And one of the graphic novels that the comic book folks told me to check out was The Crow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So the whole, Eric Draven, saga and everything. And then, it was the 90s. So there wasn't we didn't really have internet back then. We didn't.
Right.
So when we heard that this was becoming a motion picture, like we were absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
And you only read it like either in papers or magazines and stuff like that, or see it like on Entertainment Tonight or whatever was on TV back then.
Right.
And then the fact that Brandon Lee was actually going to be playing that a title role of Eric Draven, it's like even more so, like at the time, like amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then unfortunately, obviously, we all know what happened with Brandon Lee, and it kind of like crushed your spirit. Yeah. And then my cousin, who now I'll tell you this, that we have my grandmother had 12 kids.
Wow.
Filipino.
Wow.
6 boys, 6 girls. I'm surprised her uterus didn't explode at that point. It's just like
God.
12. And each one of them had 3 or 4 kids. So I have.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, massive, this giant cousin family, and I'm the only child. But
wow.
But my cousin from Sinait in the Philippines, he was living with us. Big martial arts fan. He's the one who actually got me into Jackie, into Jet Li, and Donnie Yen back in the mid to late 80s. And then he's like, yeah, but the Brandon Lee, he's dead. I said, yeah, I do know, and that's so sad. He's like, yeah, but that's they're doing Mark Dacascos. He's going to be the one now. And I said, what? Who?
Mark the
Who?
what? The dude.
He's like, yeah, the Mark Dacascos. He's the one now. They put the computer on his face, and that he'll be the one to play it. I said, what are you talking about? And that is the very first time I heard your name and learned about you.
That is funny.
Yeah. So,
Oh man.
I remember telling Lance that story. He's like, "Oh, you got to tell Mark."
No, that's good. And your accent is really good, man.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, it's honestly, it's kind of how I have to talk to my mom.
Wow.
She won't understand me. I'm like, Ma, I need this and this and this. And you know, she's a little older now.
Right.
And she's like, what? I'm like, I need the rice, I need the flour, I need the salt. Oh, okay. No. It's the only way she really understands me if I do
that. That's awesome, man.
Anyway.
Oh.
How often do you actually get to Hawaii?
You know, it's while my character was alive for 5-0, for the first 5 years, I'd come back 4 or 5 times per year. And then after that, I think I came back actually only for the episodes that I did after that in the flashback sequence and the nightmare sequence, actually. So I haven't been back to Hawaii for personal reasons or for vacation. You know, I haven't done that in years. It's been years. Crazy. It's I'm due back, because even last time when I saw Lance, I was there for the episode. You know.
Are you familiar with Cameo?
Yeah, I just started. I've done like 30 of them in the last month or so.
Oh, very cool. They're like 5 minutes long, right?
Yeah, they're anywhere from 1-4. You know, I ended up doing one that was like 7 or 8 minutes, and it was too long. So then I had to do a couple more because once I start talking, I don't shut up. So, and I was having fun, and I was trying to give some heart. But anyway, yeah, mine usually go from a minute and a half to 4 minutes or something like that on the average.
Oh, okay. Man, 30 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get any interesting requests, or are they just people who just basically say like, "Hey, we're a big fan," and yak.
No, they're a lot of them. Most of them are very specific and very kind and open-hearted. They like the chairman, and a lot of them like the chairman in Iron Chef America. So I do that, or requests to do a couple lines as Wo-Fat, which is always fun.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then every now and then something from Only the Strong. So I'll do a jinga or some capoeira for the people.
Oh man!
But I'm actually really enjoying it.
Oh, good. Yeah. But your name came up on Cameo, and just like because we were looking for Hawaii centric,
right?
And everyone's just like, well, everyone on this list is except for Mark. We should just get Mark Dacascos. I'm like, well, we probably have somebody who in the department who have access to it. So I don't want to name who the other people are, but it's just nice that they're on there.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Lance didn't give me a whole lot of information because I was when we were chatting, but when I was in Chicago, I was an actor and mostly comedy. But we were with a group called Stir Friday Night, and Stir Friday Night was this they're obviously all Asian American, devoted to dispelling stereotypes, and we toured the country, which was kind of fun.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And but the funny thing is we all would get the same what do you call it? We would all get the same like casting calls.
Okay. All right.
And this was that's that Lance, you're back?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, that was weird. I was talking and I could hear you guys, but you guys couldn't hear me.
Oh yeah. No. I saw your little icon disappear and then you popped back up.
Yeah, sorry about
You're
that.
Such a ninja.
I know. Sorry, I learned, it's in the family, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, sorry about that.
That's right. But we'd all get we'd all get the same casting calls. And if it was for males, it was always, do you know martial arts? Basically, right? And if it was for females, it's just always about their looks to be typecast, for a role or for extras.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of our people, like our actors, were actually going like retroactively learning martial arts just to be able to say, they put it on their resume and their headshot, just to be able to say, yeah, I do know it, right?
Yeah.
But Lance wouldn't tell me, like, it was that the case for you? Were you martial arts based first, and then that's how the roles started showing up, or
right?
How did it work? Yeah.
Right. So my parents are both martial arts teachers.
Oh,
so it was, it was always in my life. So I spent the first 6 years. I was born in Hawaii, and the first 6 years primarily with my grandparents from my mom's side, and I would go to the mainland because my mom and dad moved to the mainland. I'd visit them. I visited them twice, I think, the first 5 or 6 years, and then they'd come back and visit me. But primarily, my grandparents were taking care of me. And then when I moved with them, when I was about 6 years old, from then on, up until when I left home, it was all martial arts, whether I wanted to do it or not. We'd spend, after school time in my mom and dad's martial arts schools. At first, they were in California, and then primarily in Colorado. And then we moved to Germany when I was around 12, and it was all martial arts, and that kind of became my sanctuary. After I went to a German school. My brother and I went to German schools. After school, we just go to the Kung Fu school and clean the toilets, vacuum, clean the mirrors, and then I would help. I would help teach the classes. So martial arts, as far back as I can remember, has always been in my life, and then really became part of my physical life at the age of 6 when I moved with my parents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now, do you mind me asking, like, what disciplines did you said it was Kung Fu, but is there any other disciplines that you're?
Yeah. So, there are, probably more now, but 300 plus, I mean, probably way back when I heard there were 300 different styles, but I'm sure there are many, many, many more by now of Chinese Kung Fu. But my father's style is called One Hop Kyundo, which translated into English is combination fist art style, or basically, it's a mixed martial art, but not for sport. So everything that you're not allowed to do in mixed martial arts in the sports is what we do, because it's primarily for self-defense. And practical street self-defense is basically what it is. So that's our primary. That's our primary focus. And then we competed in tournaments to get the training, to learn how to bridge the gap and broken rhythm and all those different things. And we also did forms, and we did all the traditional Chinese weapons to be a kind of to get a full rounded education of martial arts. And what I love about the way my mother and father taught was it was very holistic, in that it was for the betterment of your mind, body, and spirit. If you wanted to compete in tournaments, that's great, and we did a lot of that. But more than anything, it was to defend yourself in your spirit, and to have a strong mind, and to have a strong immune system. And then, of course, the benefit is if you were attacked or got in a street fight, hopefully you'd retain some of what you learned in class, and you could, work it, use it. But it was really, philosophically, it was well-rounded,
Well, yeah, it's also sounded like, back in the day, it was also more of a practical aspect this is how you would get more students, right? It's just like, this is a martial art geared for, it sounds like it's like geared for, street fighting and defending yourself, but then also here are the added benefits, for your spirit.
Yeah. And that's kind of, yes. It was, initially when my father started teaching, he just focused on street self-defense, the philosophy, all the inherent things that come with martial arts: respect, discipline, focus. And then my mom said, for what would really be good for advertising and could also really be fun for us is if we ventured out and also participated in the sport aspect of it. And that's when they started training also for tournaments and taking their students to tournaments. And it ended up, she was 100% right, because, it's good to train really hard in case you get in a fight, and for the discipline and, for spirituality and all that is great. But a lot of people like to just get together and have the social aspect of a tournament and competition. And so that became a very large part of our school and our culture in our school.
Hey, Mark. Mark, you do. Well, you probably don't know this, but the first time I met Benjamin, Benjamin's Mark's brother, who lives in Germany. First time I met him was a summer. Stayed at your dad's house, and your dad had a convention, I think, going on that summer. So it was like all his students from Germany. Okay. Your dad beat me up for like 2 weeks straight. Oh, every single time he's like he needed a demonstration person. Lance, I was that guy.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
I'm sure you lived that though.
Well, I obviously wasn't there because and I'm lucky because you were. He's lucky that you were. But usually he beats up on me, and then if I'm not there, the cousins or nephews or anybody else gets it. So thank you, and I'm sorry about that, Lance.
No. You know what? That's funny that you say that, because like I grew up taking Kenpo and Kempo. I took a little bit of Kung Fu, not from our family, but from these different schools, and a little bit of Judo. And I think the difference when I took your dad's style was that it was way more, you're standing around, somebody attacks you from behind, you had no idea, so you can't get into a fighting stance, or like in a tournament. I was in a bunch of tournaments, but the guy's gonna fight you, you're wearing fight gear, you're ready. It was a lot more like, okay, if you're walking around or you're at a bar or whatever, someone comes up behind you, you figure out a way.
That's right.
And I really, really enjoyed, like, the training was more intense. It was more, I think you mentioned it was more practical. It was more like, you know what, like maybe you can't hit them, downstairs in a tournament, but guess what? In a fight and your life is in danger, it's there. Use it.
Yeah, pull them off. Pull them off.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad you got to experience that. And I'd like to add that, many a time when we were back in Germany, we'd get ready for class and people would start to change and put on their sports shoes and this and that. And he would just go through the school and say, okay, nobody change. Whatever you wore to work or however you got here, whatever you wore, just keep it on. And we're going to go out in the parking lot and we're going to go work, So you do terrain training, and if you're wearing a skirt or a dress or a suit or tight jeans and whatever it is you have on, you're going to learn how to work with what you have, and you're not going to have time to warm up or stretch, because like you said, in a real fight, a lot of times you don't have time to stretch or warm up. And a lot of times the fight starts after you've already been hit.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that was, thank you, Lance, for that, because that, Carl, that is kind of the essence of what my mom and dad taught, is street practicality. And then also, not just what happens if you get in the fight, how to think about it, but how to avoid getting in a fight. If you know a place is dangerous, why go there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So a lot of that was preventative. How do you prevent putting yourself in that position? Because I love Mark Twain's quote: "It's easier to stay out of the mud than to get out of the mud."
Right.
Yes. Yep. Oh man, I was just telling my wife this exact same scenario. We were walking down a very narrow path. This was like 3 days ago, and a dude on a bike is coming right at us. And obviously, my wife's,
Pregnant.
8.5 months pregnant. I sort of pull her out of the way. I move her into the grass, and she says, "No, he should be the one to move." I'm like, "Yeah, he should be, but if we were all knocked down and over, it's like we were going to be wondering in our heads, like, well, we should have just moved out of the way."
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, unfortunately, we can't count on other people to always be decent. I think more people than not are decent, but there are those few that mess it up for, you know, the majority of us.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
you know,
I like that optimism.
Hey, Mark, I know we don't have forever to talk about this, but I did want to bring up the crazy story. So I haven't told Carl because I want you to tell him yourself. How did the John Wick thing? How did that even happen?
Oh yeah, no,
that is like the craziest story.
Okay, so I'll try to make it as concise as possible, but it is kind of crazy.
No, go for it, because I heard that. I heard it. Go ahead.
Okay, so my wife, who is not really an action movie fan, and I have to say, quite frankly, neither am I. I like stories. I like movies, and if it has action, great. If it doesn't, that's great too. Main thing for me is story. The character relationships. I'm sorry about. I don't know if you can hear my dog. I'm sorry about that. We have
that gives it character, Mark.
Okay, we have 280-pound dogs, so I put them outside. But I know
Fred and Ruby, right?
Fred and Ruby, correct.
There you go.
Correct. So anyway, my wife, not an action film fan, but she had seen John Wick 1 and 2, and probably she checked them out because I know she likes Keanu Reeves. So that's probably the entryway into the action movies. And then she ended up, of course, she loved Keanu in the movie, but then she also loved the sexy vibe and the action. And she said it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And she said, because I kind of have the same sensibility. She goes, "You like Keanu, and you like action if it's supported by story. I think you're going to like these. You should check them out." And she was right. I watched 1 and 2, loved it, and then that was that. The beginning of the year, I did some episodes of a new season of Iron Chef, and then I went up to do a Hallmark movie, right? So cooking and then a feel-good movie. And then I went to New York. I went to New York to study with my Shakespeare teacher. And this was probably in March or something like that. So while I was there, my agent calls up and says, "Hey, Chad Stahelski, director of 1, 2, and 3, 1 and 2 of John Wick, wants to meet you, and he's in New York. Can you make it?" I said, "Of course I can make it. Of course I can make it." His address is literally 15 minutes from the studio. So we make the appointment. I go there before class in the morning, and so from 9 until 11, I meet with Chad Stahelski, and Jojo Eusebio, I think that's his name, Jojo's last name. Anyway, his stunt coordinator, one of his stunt coordinators, and John Valera, the other stunt coordinator from 8711 Action Design. And that's Chad Stahelski's stunt company, and those guys are fantastic. Okay, so I'm sitting with Chad, and we have a 2-hour conversation, and he had told me that the lead villain was already cast. It was going to be a fantastic actor by the name of Hiroyuki Sanada, and I'm a huge fan of Hiroyuki Sanada. He did a movie called Twilight Samurai, and it was You remember that movie? Yeah, that's Hiroyuki Sanada. So he's brilliant. And then he did the oh my goodness, it's the movie with Hugh Jackman. Where he plays Wolverine.
Oh. Okay.
And I think Hiroyuki did one of those movies as well. He played a samurai, but he's fantastic. Great actor. In any case, back to the meeting. Chad Stahelski tells me that the lead villain has already been cast, Hiroyuki Sanada, who is a good friend of Keanu's, and the part was written for him. But he would like me to consider doing an action scene and then a cameo with Keanu and or Halle when they shoot in Morocco. And I said, I said, Chad, I said, you guys are fantastic, and the action. And if I were to go back into doing action, you guys would be who I'd want to be with and do it with. So I am honored. Thank you. Yes. A cameo, some dialogue, some fighting. Count me in. So that was the initial meeting. Okay. So that was maybe in March. Cut to April and beginning of May. I hadn't heard anything, right? And I knew that my part wasn't supposed to shoot until October. So I thought, okay, well, we have time. But, you do get nervous. You have a great meeting and then you don't hear anything. Mm-hmm. So it's now in May. Sunday night, I get this text, and it's Chad Stahelski, and he says, "Hey, Dacascos, call me in the morning." And I text him back. I said, "We'll do, Chad." So I'm excited. I'm like, okay, well, hopefully something possibly with Wick is going on. So I call him in the morning, and I said, "Hey, Chad, how's it going, man? Can I help you with something?" And he goes, "I hope so." I said, "I hope so too. What's going on?" And he says, "Some things have changed. The lead actor for the villain role in Wick is out, and I'd like to invite you." And I said, "You'd like to invite me to what?" And he says, "To be the lead villain." And I said, "I would love it. Yes, please." He goes, "Read the script first." And I said, "Don't need to read the script. I'll do it." He goes, "Dacascos, read the script." I said, "Don't need to read the script. I'll do it." He goes, "I'm sending you the script. Read the script. Call me back in 2 hours." I said, "You got it." He sends the script. I read it. Of course, it's great. And I've, just by reading, I'm thinking, okay, I could play with this here and do this and do that. It just starts hitting me, So I call him back. I said, "Chad, as expected, I love it. It's great. I 100% would love to be on board. So yes, please. And thank you. One question. Would you be open to me, playing around with the character?" He goes, "Absolutely. We'll collaborate. You make it your own." I said, "Great. Thank you. When would you like me in New York?" Because I was in Los Angeles at that moment. I said, "When would you like me there?" He goes, "Can you come tonight?" so Sunday text, Monday phone call in the morning. By Monday night, we made the deal. I'm on a flight to New York. Because of fog or weather, we get sent to a different airport. We're up in an hour or so north of JFK. Then I get and then then the fog lets up. I get back to our flight. We get into JFK. They drive me directly to set. I see Chad again.
Right off the plane?
Right off the plane. I go straight to set. I see Chad. I meet with our DOP, Dan Louston, who was nominated for The Shape of Water.
Oh, wow.
Who had also done John Wick 2, and who I'd worked twice before with. Once in Kazakhstan on a movie called Nomad, and another time in France for 6 months on a movie called Brotherhood of the Wolf. So he's our DOP on John Wick 3. So it was a really nice, reunion. And then I got to meet, I didn't get to meet, I saw her working. I saw Angelica Houston, because she was shooting this scene with Keanu. And then, of course, I got to meet the man. I got to meet Keanu that day, so it was
very cool.
A big day. After that, I go straight to the production house. I get fitted for costumes. Then I go to the doctor.
They didn't waste any time, huh?
No, they couldn't. I go to the doctor. I do my physical, my checkup. Then we go to fight rehearsal. This is all Monday now, right?
Oh, jeez.
Excuse me, all Tuesday. I left on Monday. I get there Tuesday. I do my fight rehearsal. The next day, I go to sets. We figure out what we're going to do with my hair. I kind of suggested, I said to Chad, I said, I like to, my character's name is Zero. It kind of feels like zero anything. He, zero extra meat on his body, zero hair, zero everything. It just, it might be a nice contrast since John Wick has facial hair and long hair. And Chad thought about it and he says, "Okay, shave it off and hurry up before I change my mind." So I had talked with hair and makeup before, and they thought it was a good idea too. So we went there collectively together. So we shaved the hair off, and let me see. Sunday text, Monday phone call, and leaving for New York. Tuesday arrive, Wednesday shave the head, final wardrobe fitting, and Thursday I'm shooting. So. Barely any rehearsals, and figuring out the character and the fights as we're doing them. The scenes.
Mark, you're exhausted at this point, right? Or are you excited, adrenaline wise?
I probably should have been exhausted, but everything came around so quick. I mean, imagine this: you get a phone, you talk with the director on Monday, and by Thursday, you've done your first scene with Lawrence Fishburne and Asia K. Dillon in John Wick 3.
Yeah,
it's exciting too.
So I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm shooting it, and then in between, I'm looking around, going, what the heck?
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, even telling you guys about the story, I still think, what the heck? You know?
Right.
Because it came around so fast. And, a year later, the movie was already out. I mean, they already had the release date before I even came on board. So everything was just like, whoop, it was crazy. It was crazy. But one of the most pleasurable and exciting projects I've ever been on. It was magnificent.
Mark,
and I'm so honored.
Mark, you told me about the scenes that you were able to kind of play around with, and they ended up being some of the best scenes in the whole movie, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you, Lance.
Yeah. Can you explain them to Carl which one and how it worked?
Well, yes. So, Mark, I was also when Lance and I were discussing movies and then discussing this movie, I was saying, Mike, your character, and then on top of your character, but these scenes where there's a little bit of levity and light in the whole thing, because most, in all three of the John Wick movies, everyone takes their character to the most serious and extreme level, which creates this great sense, and it creates the world that we're all in, right? This underground world that's underneath the world we see. And then here in John Wick 3, after all is said and done, and there's humor from here and there, but here in John Wick 3, we have this character who kind of stands out amongst the rest, because you're more than just this
bad guy,
the serious bad guy who has one MO, and that's I'm going to do whatever it takes to get John Wick. You have additional wants as a character. One of your wants is I kind of want to talk to this legend, this person, and that really comes out. And it was probably one of the biggest laughs and also a cathartic release for the audience, because it's 3/4 of the way through the movie.
Thank you.
For when you sit right next to John Wick, and I know it's a great part. Everyone's laughing because obviously Zero, he's obviously amazing what he does, but at the same time sort of doesn't understand social graces.
No, it made your character so he had dimension. It wasn't just every movie, bad guy, I'm gonna kill the good guy, and then you don't get to know the character.
Right.
The storyline was oh, this guy he's human. He's idolizes people. He doesn't want to just kill them.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
So we would have liked to have seen more of that guy.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well, the thing is that, they put a lot of, it was all there in the writing. And as you guys know, you can have 5 people read, a few lines, and you're going to get different interpretations. And for me, when I read it, the line was already that, I'm a fan. And I guess, I guess I know for sure, with my improv training, and then studying Shakespeare for so many years, I tend to I want to heighten and make it most interesting. And so for me, when I read the line, it said I'm a fan. All I did in my mind was tack on boy, and then if in this world which we're in, if John Wick is the guy, and you have the honor of going after him, and then you have a split moment when nobody else is around. It just started. I started playing with these ideas, just as I read it, and didn't really, we didn't have a lot of time for rehearsal. So basically, what happened was, I've already got these little ideas of what I could possibly do with that to give him dimension and color. But to be true to the character, not add something, just go deeper with the character, right? Mm-hmm. So when we had our, when Chad Stahelski, when we were doing the couch scene, he said, Keanu, Mark, before I give you guys any direction, let's have a big rehearsal. Everybody can see, basically what we're doing. I kind of want you guys to land over here, but let me see whatever you guys want to do. Just play, and I'll take it from there. And he said,
open block?
Yeah, open block. Yeah. As long as you guys end up over here on the couch in this area, let's see what you guys want to play with, what you guys have, And I just thought, this is really cool. So we go back behind the door, and before he yells, before Chad yelled action, Keanu turns to me and goes, "Hey, Mark, do you think I should go in first, or do you want to go in first? What do you think?" And I said, "Well, Keanu," I said, "You're Mr. Wick. So, and this is the Continental. I, if you don't mind, I would suggest you go in first." I said, okay, great. So even that was surreal. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, oh man,
It's as if it's real almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is Keanu freaking Reeves, man, and he's so cool. He was, the whole time through, he was a sweetheart, but badass sweetheart. I mean, like, he's he's super strong. His handshakes, when he does his jiu-jitsu and all those moves, I mean, he's really strong. But anyway, back to the scene. So he says, Chad says, action on rehearsal, and Keanu walks in and, bypasses the chair and then sits down on the couch. And then I walk in, and, I'm hovering by that first chair, and we're in rehearsal right now. So nobody knows what I'm doing or what we're planned, and Keanu doesn't even know. And I just thought, my instinct says, just do it. Just do it. They're either going to fire me or they're going to like it, because you know what I mean? It's like, you never know.
Right.
And from reading the script, I could see that, obviously it was tailored for Hiroyuki Sanada, but I just thought, well, Chad has me now, so maybe he'll be open. So anyway, I bypassed the single chair, and I can see Keanu like looking up like, out of the corner of his eye, because he doesn't know what we're doing. This is rehearsal, right? Then I walk over by the couch, and then I stand there, and then he looks back straight, because he's thinking that I'm just going to sit down. Then I slowly start scooting closer to him, right? And I'm closer and closer, and now my leg is now touching he's sitting down, and my leg is touching his leg. And then I slowly sit down, and my butt rubs against his shoulder, and then his hips, and I'm sitting so close to him, and I can feel him almost start to laugh, but he's trying not to, right? Because we were having a rehearsal, so he's staying in character, and I'm just sitting there as in the actual take, and I can feel him like, he's laughing, but he's also saying like, what the you know what I mean? So, that's kind of like what I felt he was doing,
Right.
And then I just told myself to stay in character. This is for real. You don't know what he's going to do. So I stay in character, and so does Keanu. Then he slides over, looks at me again like, okay. Then he gets up and he sits down in the seat. And then, of course, just like in reality, I make sure that nobody's watching us. And then I slowly scoot over to the edge of the sofa, and then I lean forward and I start doing my dialogue. And you can see he's in character, but he's that little sparkle in the eye. It looks like he's trying not to laugh, which was really funny, So we finished the whole scene. And then finally, Chad yells, "Cut at rehearsal." Keanu bursts out in laughter, and then I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he dropped a couple of F-bombs and said, "Ah, man, that's too funny. We can't do that, right? We can't do that." But he's laughing and enjoying it, right? Because, you're not sure what to do. And then Chad comes out, and I'm going, okay, Chad's quiet, and he's looking at me, and I'm going, okay, I'm fired. That was fun, now I'm fired. And he goes, I like it. Let's keep it. And that's how it was. And
I love it. I love it.
Oh. So, I have to say that Chad gave us the freedom to play, and Keanu, because at any time, Keanu was one of the producers too. He could have just felt like it's not working, and he could have cut the scene. Yeah. And he stayed in the scene, and he let me play, and he let the unknown happen. So I really thank Keanu and Chad for letting it unfold, and then ultimately using it.
Oh yeah, that's the beauty of improv too, right? Because you're both professionals, and he, as long as he didn't break, like he let it affect him as a character. Yeah, it was, and that's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. So so that's kind of how that came to be. And after we did that scene, I had obviously I had certain ideas about the character, and then
for the duration of shooting, Chad would get what he needed for safety. You know, the safe takes,
right?
And then he'd ask me to do my crazy, or he'd have some of his own ideas about a crazy, you know, and we'd play with that. And then
that's cool.
Even when the movie was finally cut and almost ready to go, you know, if you ever get a chance, and you know, I may, just in case I don't get it right, I'm going to say that this is as far as I remember, but you know, they locked it with more of the conservative takes of Zero. And then Chad told me that, you know, he wanted some things to pop and he needed some different beats and colors in there. So he asked his editor, Evan Sheff, who's amazingly talented man, to use different takes on the scenes of with Zero and Mr. Wick, and give him something different. And Evan went back and he found some of the more, you know, different, whimsical, crazy, eccentric takes of Zero and popped them in there. And Chad said that when he saw it, you know, he was laughing and he goes, okay, you know, I'm not sure if we can use that. That's kind of, you know, too funny. And Evan said to him, this is what I recall him telling me. Evan said, but you laughed. And Chad said, huh. And so they kept it, you know? So
I loved it. Yeah.
You know, so I got to thank the whole team, because, you know, Keanu let it play, and then Chad gave us the room to really discover and take chances, and then Evan went back and found that stuff and used it, you know. So
that's awesome.
You had a lot of advocates for the gifts you gave them.
Oh man, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, because, you know, they could have just locked it down with more of the conservative takes, and you know, and that would have been, you know, what people expected, and I suppose hopefully would have been fine. But I'm sure glad they gave Zero a chance, and they gave, you know, some different colors to our story. You know,
it totally changed.
Very cool.
Thank you.
I think it totally changed the John Wick universe or something, or at least the way I think about it, because it was, you had the underground and the tattoos and the, you know, like people killing people and Keanu being kind of funny here and there, but you added and I'm not just saying this, I mean, you're my cousin, obviously.
Yes, you are just saying this because you're my cousin.
No, but
and it's okay. I like it. Keep saying it.
No, but you know, in all honesty, it definitely changed the whole universe, because I was a fan of John Wick before you even told me you were on there.
Right.
And then when I heard you were on there, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, and then if I thought that, Mark, I can only imagine what you thought. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm telling you. Well, it was a ride, and even now, because, you know, for the 3 months I go in there and I try to get my spirit into the skin of Zero, and then the movie finishes, and then I'm back to Mark, and I can watch the movie, and it still feels like this incredible dream that I was on, but it doesn't feel real, you know?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You shut down Grand Central Station. I think that like, I still can't get over that you guys filmed there.
I know, it was crazy. And, you know, because they had tons of extras, and then they had just, you know, people living their life and stopping to watch in between, you know. It was
How long did you have it for?
The whole shoot was magical. We were there, I think, 3 or 4 nights.
Oh man. I did not know that.
Yeah, and then you know, and then some scenes that Keanu did. I mean, in Times Square, right? I mean, crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought,
I know. Yeah.
Walking around, I'm going, this is a kind of big production.
Yeah.
You know, you're walking on set, and Angelica Houston's already, you know, doing one of her scenes, and you're going, wow. And then, you know, after we wrapped in New York, they were going off to Morocco to go shoot with Halle Berry, and I was just thinking, this is the same movie. We're all in this movie together. You know, it was just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. I was so humbled and so happy and honored. You know, still to this day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hope there's a fourth one. Yeah, I mean, if you know or don't know, you don't. I know you probably can't tell or can't say.
Well, guys, you know, the good thing is there is a John Wick 4, but because of our current world status, with the pandemic. I think the release date was postponed until a year later. You know, yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
they are doing a 4.
Yeah, and I remember. I think. Yeah, and they're filming Matrix 4 right now, right?
Yes, they were doing that. They were doing that, and I don't know how far along they got before everything kind of shut down. You know.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Carl, are you still there? I think Carl's.
Carl.
I think his battery died. He does it on his phone.
Oh, Carl. Hey, when are we starting the podcast? Are we taping anything?
Oh no, it's going on now.
I'm totally teasing.
Oh man, that was good. Nah, that was very good. I got you. That was good. Yeah, his phone just died.
Lance, I got to say, thank you so much for inviting Mark to be on Real Parallels, because obviously he's the real deal.
He's hilarious.
Right?
He's hilarious. He's great.
He's hilarious, but he's the real deal. Like, he's not just a martial arts stuntman. He was trained early on. He lived it. It's in his family, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's hilarious, and that's what I loved. What he brought to the John Wick series, right? To that universe, right? A little bit of levity, and I mean, I could sit with him all day long, and I just want him to tell me stories about hanging out with KR, Keanu Reeves, man. Yeah, but here in Hawaii, Mark has legacy, reprising his role as Wofat in 5-0, which is really what he's known for here in Hawaii as well. Mm-hmm. So, but I just want to say thanks to you for bringing him on. What an awesome guest.
No, Mark's great. Yeah, so actually we had Mark on. That was recorded about 6 weeks ago because Carl, congratulations, he had his first child. So
babies.
Yeah, we took a little break so that Carl could get adjusted. And Mark mentioned while we were talking to him that there was a project that he couldn't talk about because of NDAs or whatnot. Well, now we know what that project was. It's called Soul of the Dragon, and it is a 1970 set Batman animated movie. And it has Kelly Hu, who's another actress from Hawaii. People probably have seen her. And Michael Jai White, another martial artist who was in Spawn, or he was Spawn.
He was
Spawn. Yeah.
So
that is going to come out at a later date. But if anybody wants to follow Mark's journey into, I think both of us can say, as well as Mark, we are all we're really hoping that he's in John Wick 4. You can find out, or you can keep up with him on Instagram at Dacascos Mark. It's DACASCOS Mark, MARK, and then he'll post stuff about behind the scenes stuff and his life and how he stays healthy and ready for any role that might come his way.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thanks again, because the killer personality and real fun guy. Yep. So look forward to seeing everyone next time on Real Parallels.
Bye, everybody.